Okay. So you all know what a MOOC is, right? Massive, open, online course. Massive can be couple of thousand, up to 100,000 learners, even more in some courses. Open probably means open to everyone, registration for free. Online means online, and when we talk about courses in the higher education institution, we really think about those courses that you will create for learners around the world. So, do you all know the story and then I skip, or you don't? Shall I go to the story? Okay. The word MOOC is born in 2008. It's a Canadian researcher, Dave Cormier, who decided to call MOOC a course that was created by two of his colleagues, George Siemens and Stephen Jones, who put this course on internet. The course was called Connectivism and Connective Knowledge. And there were many learners around the world who came to this course. This course was really a course where everyone has to share, everyone has to produce knowledge on the course. That's what later on we would call such a course, such a MOOC, a connectivist MOOC, a CMOOC. And nothing really happens after 2008. I mean, the education communities, the education science teachers were aware of what had happened there, but it didn't really bloom in any sense. And then in 2011, Sebastian Thrun is professor in computer science in Stanford, and he decides he has a very good master course on intelligence artificial. He has many TAs, he had the help of many people in his team, and he decides to put this course online. He put the course online, and then he has 160,000 people enrolled in this course. 10% of them going to the end of the course. 16,000 people finish this course. Wow. That was more learners, more students that he could ever dream of as a professor in Stanford, in his face-to-face classes, right? For his whole career. So suddenly, the US looked at this experiment and everything suddenly bloomed. So Sebastian Thrun quit Stanford and decided to create an online platform for open online courses called Udacity. A couple of months later, two of his colleagues from Coursera, they were also computer science professors at Coursera, they left Stanford, they raised quite a few money, something like $60 million funding money, something like that, and they created Coursera. At the same time, edX was born. So on the West Coast, you see there are these two initiatives from Thrun, who created Udacity, from two of his colleagues who left, created another company called Coursera and created the Coursera platform that you probably all know of and have taken courses there. And then on the East Coast, MIT, Harvard joined together. They raised money from their internal foundations, the same amount of money as Coursera, and they created edX, edX.org. So in 2012, Udacity started with 15 courses. Coursera quickly started with 40 courses. edX started also with 15 courses. And altogether, they had basically 2 million enrollments in 2012. And suddenly, the word MOOC was the word. The year of the MOOC, as the New York Times said. Okay. In 2013, many other initiatives started in different countries. The initiative France Université Numérique, called FUN, is the one we started in France, but at the same time, the UK started an initiative which started with the Open University. That's Open University who started the companies that was created. That one, FutureLearn. Then there was an initiative in Spain called Myriadix, an initiative in China, and there are many, many initiatives in the world nowadays. And the figures that you can see on the right part of the slide here, these are the figures that Classe Centrale, which is a portal in the States that reference MOOCs everywhere, said that there are more than 81 million learners on MOOC, almost more than 9,400 courses, and many, many universities are creating courses nowadays. I would like to discuss something that is quite interesting and important in terms of what are the technologies behind this platform. When Udacity was created, Stephen Chun left Stanford with a couple of his colleagues. They created a technology. This technology is a proprietary technology. It's Udacity technology, and that's it. When Coursera was created as a for-profit organization. And the people who created this company, coming from Stanford and hiring very quickly lots of developers, they created also a proprietary, that's the way we say it, proprietary code. So if you go to Coursera, you work on a technology, and this technology is nowhere else than their technology. On the other side, when MIT Harvard decided to create edX, they created edX as a non-profit organization. And I think this difference is absolutely important, not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of the ways they see their place in the game, the international game of MOOCs, right? So MIT, you all know, I believe, that MIT have a very strong dedication to open courseware for many years. And maybe some of you have went to the MIT Open Courseware 10 years or 15 years ago, and you have taken the course of a great teacher because the course was online, sometimes very badly, by the way. I mean, a video taken from the back of the room, or the slides where the pen, the professor was writing with a pen on these old, previous to PowerPoint, you know. I don't remember how we used to call the way we had presentation before PowerPoint, you remember? We had these plastic papers, and then that's it. So you had everything like that on the open courseware. But anyway, the fact that they were really committed to open education made really, in my opinion, this decision to create a company as a non-profit company and saying, very important, we are going to develop a code, and this code, we are going to put it in open source when it will be good enough. The 1st of June 2013, they released their code, calling it OpenEdX, on the internet, on a GitLab repository. In France, we were just in the middle of defining our digital strategy for education. And so everyone was talking about MOOCs. Coursera was arriving in France and was asking some universities, do you want to join? But only very few universities, very elite universities. Basically, if you are a university based in Paris with Sorbonne in your name, then from San Francisco you are the elite. So you were really asked, are you willing to put the course on my platform? But if you are a very good university in an unknown city of France from the West Coast, then you had no chance to be accepted, even though you have a very good teacher, a very good expert in his field, and the will to create the course. So in May 2013, we had this idea. maybe we should go in this MOOC movement because we don't want the American to run the world, because we don't want to have to put our MOOCs in French on a platform where the only interface was in English. You have to remember that those platforms in 2013 and only English interfaces. We didn't really want those companies, especially Coursera, to have the data of our learners, to use the data, to sell the data. Probably if you have followed a course on Coursera, you may have received an email from a company where saying, I've discovered that you are very good in security. You succeeded in this big MOOC on Coursera. I'm willing to propose you a job. I have colleagues in my university who receive such offers from American companies because the data Coursera had was sold to those companies and those HR people. And so, you know, we were not really keen about this idea. But in May 2013, we had quite a few universities who were saying, we should do MOOCs. We should see what's happening here. We don't exactly know what is going to be the future of MOOCs, but we have to be part of that. We probably have a good issue in producing MOOC in French for the Francophone world, because for France, there is a big issue. There are lots of Francophone countries in the world where we have strong relationship with universities, and that's a good way to work with those universities to spread knowledge and stuff like that. But in May 2013, when we asked the technicians, when we are the expert, okay, you want us to do a shared platform, so we'll save the money, so we'll concentrate on a unique platform, the money we need to create it, and then university will spend money on creating contents, and not each of them creating their own platform, and there is no sense if you want to be visible, you have to be on the same marketplace, you have to be on the same platform. But when we asked the expert, everyone has its own idea. Some of them said, we'll use Moodle. Everyone knows that Moodle is probably not the best solution to doing MOOCs, but anyway, some of them wanted to do Moodle, some of them wanted to use Sakai, some of them wanted to use Cloudline, some of them wanted to use technologies that they had developed in a proto in a lab somewhere in the university. And everyone said, well, let's do just a portal and have links to these different courses. The technology is not mature enough. Let us experiment and just make the portal so we have all the French MOOCs somewhere visible. And the 1st of June, OpenEdX got out. The 2nd of June, all those experts started to install edX on their platform. And the 15th of June, when we had another meeting with all those experts and said, okay, so what do we do? All of them said, okay, we have to do it with OpenEdX. It's an open source solution. We are going to be able to contribute to it. It's a solution that is going to evolve. That's what we should do. So that's what we did. And that's how we were able to launch the OpenEdX French platform called France Université Numérique in October 2013. 3 weeks later, the Chinese from University of Tsinghua in Beijing, they released Xuetang X. It's also an open source OpenEdX platform. On the contrary, FutureLearn decided to hire a team and create another technology. And this technology is still a proprietary technology. Very nice. I mean, it has very strong features, but still it's a proprietary technology. In Spain, the situation was a little bit different, but still the same. The project was funded by the big telephone company in Spain. And it's also a private company, and they are still with a proprietary code nowadays. Okay. So basically, what is a massive, what's a MOOC? Of course, it's a course accessible through internet. It lasts a few weeks. Some courses are what we would call on demand. Okay, when I say it lasts a few weeks, you have created a course. It's a 6 weeks long course. We would not do longer courses. All the teachers who have created 12 weeks courses have realized that this is too long. because the learners, you are learners, lots of people are learners, they have many things to do. They do MOOCs as part of a very busy life, so 2 weeks is too long, and universities who have started with 2 weeks long courses, they have shortened them in 2 different MOOCs. Part 1, 6 weeks, part 2, 6 weeks, basically. Some courses are 4, but anyway. So, really a course, when it starts at a given date, it finishes at a given date, it's a course. That is to say, it's a meeting between teachers, a teacher's team, and learners. There are lots of educational materials which is proposed. Of course, this material is created for this media. We are not going to post on, at least we don't do it, we are not going to post on a MOOC a 1 hour long lecture from a teacher as a video from the MOOC, right? When we started in 2013, some teachers came to us and said, well, you know, in my university, I teach in a room, I'm very lucky, there is registration, so I have 12 hours of my 12 classes taken from as a videos. My video is ready, can we open my MOOC? Certainly not. You are not going to create a MOOC with 1 hour long video, not even with half an hour long video, because you want to create a course that will fit the need of the learners, and the learners, they have many lives, and they want to have a very efficient learning experience, so you rather have different short videos than a long one. What is very important in a MOOC is really that it's a place where a community is creating. You have collaborative experience, collaboration between the teacher and the learners, collaboration between the learners themselves. You have forum, you have wikis, you have very often webinars every week at 10 o'clock at night, if that's the good time for both the teacher and whatever. So this is absolutely very important. MOOC is not an open education resource online. It's really a set of open education resources put together for a learning purpose, to bring a community to work together and to learn together. In lots of courses, you have peer activities, peer grading, peer-to-peer evaluation. You have evaluation at the end. You may have certificate at the end, whether it's a non-code certificate or verified certificate. This is basically the different ingredients of a MOOC. There are derivatives from MOOC. You probably know that. So SPOC is the first one. SPOC means small private online course, which means that you have this open course and you are going to maybe replicate it for a given audience. This audience can be your student, where you want those students to take the course instead of your face-to-face main lecture. So you change your pedagogy, you use flipped classroom, etc., etc. This audience can be people who work in a company and who have to be trained with this course, whatever. When you talk about companies, sometimes, I don't know, in France, we have companies who like to talk about COOC, Corporate Online Course, which is basically these specific courses that you will use for training in companies. What is very important today to see what happens with MOOCs. When everyone started MOOCs, basically no one really knew what would happen, okay? And nowadays some people say MOOC are gone, MOOC have lost their objectives because lots of courses are not open for free anymore. But I believe that MOOC, which is now a strange word, have really changed things in many universities. So, as you know, on a lot of platforms, you can have verified certificate on a MOOC, then you can get a verified certificate, and this certificate can get you credit in your university. So it becomes clear that MOOCs are and will be tomorrow part of education, part of different curricula. In the States in particular, there are other developments with micromasters or nano degrees. So the idea here is to have a set of MOOCs covering a topic. This set of MOOCs is part of a master. You can register to this set of MOOC. Probably the first one is a prerequisite to the second one, etc. And then when you have this succeeded to this set of courses, then you have what they call on edX a micromaster. That is part of a master that you have taken online, maybe while working in your company. And if you are interested, then you can go to the university and register to the master program. And instead of having a 2 years experience on campus, because you had done part of the master online with this micromaster, then your experience on campus is going to be maybe 1 year. And then at the end, you have your degree. Of course, in the States, where going to university costs huge amount of money, it's a way to save money. Nano degrees is the same idea. I believe nano degrees is the way Coursera called micromasters. There is also an experiment. Do you know about Georgia Tech University? Georgia Tech University created a full master degree online. It's a computer science degree. They started, I believe, 5 years ago. They have several thousand students who registered, and half of them have already finished. And this so they have done that with Udacity, the company that has been created by Sebastian Tron. Because the state is a very specific world where going to university is very expensive, the master program that they take online on Udacity for Georgia Tech is 5,000 euros, which is 1/10 of the price you would pay to have the on-campus education. And something is happening there, definitely. Okay, so if we look at this picture, see, no one knows nowadays what exactly MOOC is. In the very early days, there was a big controversy between these CMOOC, the one where you have, connectivism, strong participation, co-creation of the content of the course with the learners. This is really the original idea from the MOOC from Siemens and Dove. And then, of course, when American companies like Coursera, Udacity, edX got created, we were far away from the connectivism MOOC. We are closer to what we call XMOOC, which is, let's say, transmission MOOCs, okay? You have to deliver content. You have to teach something, and then, okay, that's more a team of teachers teaching a team of learners, even though this team of learners, who can be quite big, is going to collaborate, is going to help themselves on the forum, ask questions, answer the question by themselves without the help of the teachers, whatever. But still, we are in two different worlds there. And of course, the big platforms are more concerned with XMOOC than with CMOOCs. So there is still, in the education field, a huge controversy between these two approaches. Now, massive, what is massive? Would you say that if you have 1,000 students on MOOC, it's not massive? It can be extremely massive. I mean, it depends on the topic, it depends on the language, it depends on the audience. So the notion of massiveness is really, I mean, can be seen in very different ways. Open, okay. Is it free? On our platform, MOOCs are still free, which is not the case on many platforms. For example, on FutureLearn, you can take the course, but then if you want to have the paper at the end, then you have to pay. A paper that doesn't have any value whatsoever, by the way. We're clear, right? Because when you register on a MOOC platform, you may not want to register with your own name. You are going to take the different exercises, exams along the MOOC. No one will have the proof that you have done it in an academic way. That is to say that you haven't cheated in a way or another with a book or with a colleague helping you or with doing the exam with a first name, checking what was wrong, and then using your other name where you want to have the certificate. Anyway, we know that. So these documents don't have values. That's what the American would call honor code certificate, which means you may earn, if you think you earn it, then post it on your wall, but it doesn't say anything. So free of charge is definitely an issue. Is the content open? Are the MOOC open education resources? Not all of them. Lots of them are not. So the O of open can have different meanings, and some of the meaning are really, how should I say, shortening along time, right? Huh? The big idea that MOOC are going to revolutionize because we are going to offer free education to the world, especially free American education to the world, this is obviously gone because they have to be sustainable, and to be sustainable, they will ask you to pay. And for those of you who go on Coursera, yeah. Okay, online, it's still online, okay. Though we know nowadays that it's very easy on a MOOC to create small cohorts, so you have dedicated groups where you can do dedicated training and teaching and learning. Okay, and the course, okay, is it starting and date? Is it self-paced, on demand? Obviously, if it's on demand, you don't really create the community because you have learners coming all the way. The teachers are not going to be there for 6 months or a year on a MOOC because they obviously have other things to do. So you have more open education resources online and not really a community. So these are very important issues. Learning communities, script assignment. What I want to point out that nowadays you may ask 10 people about what do they think a MOOC is, and there will be 10 different definitions. So it's a word that it's still there. It means different things. I believe that it has helped universities to understand that, wow, something was going on, and we should do something about it. We should see what those new online courses were. Are they useful? Can they be reused? Can they help universities to change their practices? And can they, at the end, provide some sort of sustainability? How many minutes do I still have? Okay, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we have been doing in France about this initiative. So as I said before, in 2013, we were writing down the digital strategy for education, and in this digital strategy, there was one action: let's create a shared MOOC platform. For this platform to be in France, hosted in France, data protected with the French law. And as I said, we were stuck in May with what technology should we use, and in June, we decided to go with OpenEdX. So we put quite a few people around the table to help us to run this project. We worked quite hard during summer 2013, and the platform was out in October 2013. So it's an open source platform, and of course the data are hosted in France. You know that probably you are as keen with the issues of protecting the data of the learners. In France, we have a very strong, even before the European regulation, we have a very strong commission who makes sure that data are protected as people living on the French in France. So your personal data and your learning data are extremely protected on the platform. However, we all know that these data are going to be very important. First of all, we have more and more data every day, and these data are very important for researchers in education, researchers in cognitive sciences, in psychology, etc., etc. So what we are doing on the platform is that we anonymize the data and provide those data to research labs who want to do research on them. Okay, this is a platform, no matter what. You know, it was a very difficult project because, you know, when we started, some universities said to the ministry, we want to create MOOC. We want you to help us to create the MOOC platform. We don't want us to spend money on the technology and on the people who will run the technology. So why don't you do it, you at the ministry level? And we will focus on creating content and creating MOOCs. So that's what we did. And if we wanted to be successful, we really had to create a strong community around the platform. So from the very beginning, we defined an editorial policy where all the French universities are welcome on the platform. We don't decide that this university is good enough and this university is not. We don't even decide that university can do a MOOC in computer science and this one in philosophy. Each university is responsible for its editorial policy, and the platform aggregates the individual editorial policy of all the universities. Of course, we have partners. We have Francophone universities that want to put MOOCs on the platform. So those are our partners, and we have an editorial policy to accept new partners. And we decided to create, from the very beginning, a quality charter. Because in 2013, no one knew what a MOOC was. And everyone has ideas, and so we had professors who wanted to put their one long hour video as a video for their MOOC. Some professors said, I have no time to spend in a forum. Then if you don't want to have a forum, you are not going to have a MOOC. You are going to have an open education resource, put them wherever you want, but this is not going to be a MOOC, at least on the MOOC, on the Fund platform. So we really created this quality charter that everyone has to follow. So we have some sort of we share good practices on the platform, and we have a very strong community of practice. So just very quickly, when we started the platform in October, and then in 2014, the ministry had created something that they didn't know how to manage, because it's not the role of a minister and a ministry to create a platform for the universities. So they were really quite embarrassed. You know, this project started very quickly as a startup inside the Ministry of Education. The minister said, let's do this MOOC platform, give them money. We got the money, by the way. We created the platform. We hired a few guys and girls to run the platform. And then in 2014, the ministry had these strange objects. And so, of course, it wasn't to be carried on this way for long. So we had a public consultation, and we have created, after quite a few difficult months of negotiation among our partners, we have created a public organization. And this public organization nowadays has 31 members. But you probably know the French system is quite a complex system, because we have organization. Underneath, we have universities and schools, okay? So if I'm talking about the members, but if I look how many members there are in each of our members, altogether we have roughly 200 French higher education institutions who are part of our organization. And then we have partners, public and private partners. And in 2018, this year, this January, we created a private branch for this public company. The main reason why we did that is because we know there is a huge impact of how do we reuse these courses in lifelong learning education, in continuous development, with companies, etc., etc. And because the way our public organization is created, this development for private companies, for the job market, etc., cannot be carried on directly by the public organization because of the juridical way it is constructed. So we created this branch to develop lifelong training. So this is the figures nowadays. We have more than 450 courses. Just last month, September, we started 92 courses on the platform. Some of them for the first session, some of them for their 4, 5, or even 8th session. You know, the figure which is important for us is, of course, the international spread of our learners, with the almost 18% of African learners. So this is something that's important with us. We have strong relationship between French universities and Francophone universities, especially in Africa. And so we have real cooperation at this level here. And it's obviously important for us. What do we do? So first of all, what are we as FUN, as France Université Numérique? First of all, we provide the platform for the MOOC, for the SPOC. And from the very beginning, one of our main role was to create the community, animate the community, boost the community. We have a strong network of representatives. We have done quite a few days of trainings. We have trained 500 or 600 people over the years. We have communication newsletter and so on and so forth. And then, very quickly in 2014, we realized that, okay, those MOOCs open for you to take, they had new developments around. So the first one, of course, is certificate. So we have verified certificate on the platform. And to get verified certificate, we have proctored exam, online supervised exam with a proctor. And some of our university gives ICTS credit for those courses. So you take a course, you get the certificate, you are interested in joining a program in the university, then you will go to the university, you will register to the program, and then you will, even without taking the course, get the ICTS corresponding to the course equivalent to the MOOC you have taken. Collection and series, that's this idea of creating coherence in a big catalog. How can you help the learner to see that if he's interested in a topic, that there is a collection of MOOCs in this topic, that there are series of MOOCs that will really give new competencies. By series, I mean a couple of MOOCs where the first one is a prerequisite of the second one, prerequisite of the third one. I have an example with a university in Lyon. They created MOOCs as a series on managing processes, a very professionally oriented series of MOOC. And they have created a curricula, a diploma in their university. So the learners who have taken the courses received the verified certificate. They can register in Lyon. They can do a project that shows that whatever they have learned on the courses, they can implement it in their companies, in where they work, and then they get this new degree from University of Lyon that has been created based on those courses. I told you about SPOC and flipped classroom. We have teachers who have created courses from that basically was one of their courses on campus. And they started to create this course just because they wanted to see. They were curious to see what was happening. So they had this course that they've worked very hard to create, spent many hours to do, you know, the right course. I remember of a teacher who came to his instructional designer team, said, "This is my master first year introductory course. I have 250 slides. I'm ready. Where is the camera?" Well, no. With the instructional designer, they really worked from the very beginning. What is the scenario of this course? What do you want to say? How do you want to say it? What is the objective of your first video? What is the concept you want to share? How are you going to make sure that whatever you have said has been understood? So what exercise do you provide? What lectures, reading you provide later on? So this is a very long process to, even for an expert in a field, to create a course because you want it to be good for the final audience. And so some of those professors who have creating their MOOCs from their courses a year later said, well, this course is quite good. Maybe it's better than my face-to-face teaching. So we have professors who have told us, I want my student on campus to listen to the MOOC, to study on the MOOC. I'm not going to do my main lecture. I am going to see the student, but do something else with them. And that's what we would call in English flipped classroom, right? So to develop this activity, we have created a platform we call Fun Campus, where we replicate the open courses that are on Fun for those teachers who want to use them with their students. And we have a couple of experiences where we had 2 courses on the platform for 2 different institutions. Those 2 courses are complementary to each other, and they ask us to replicate them to be used on campus with their students. So there is a school in Toulouse and a school in Paris. They had each created a course, and the 2 courses together were complementary to one another. And we have run those 2 courses with a cohort from on each course there are 2 cohorts, student from Paris and student for Toulouse. So a way to share among teachers the contents they've created. Of course, the very important issue is continuous education. We have been asked since 2014 with, for example, HR people who said, I have discovered a very nice course on management or entrepreneurship or accounting or whatever, and I would like my employees, my colleagues, to follow this course. And I have asked those people to register on your platform with their email, professional email. So can you please tell me who did go through the MOOC, who did succeed, what are their results? And of course, we said, we cannot do that, because as you remember, the platform is really protected of your data. And we definitely don't want companies to use a free product when they live in a world where education, training of their employees is in another world, which is the business world. So what we have been doing is to replicate some of those courses on another platform we call Fun Corporate for this company to buy them. So a company sees a MOOC on the platform, they are interested for their employees, we are going to duplicate it on this platform, and 2 situations, they may ask the teachers to animate the course, but more often they will say, the course is good, but we have our own experts, so we are going to be the one in charge of animating the course for our employees. So these are really very important issues. We have quite a few partnerships, and for my last slide, I'm just going to focus on some of partnership with the socio-economic sector, because I guess what I would like to tell you is that for universities, this MOOC issues has been a very efficient way to understand that lifelong training was important and was a way to get money to create more MOOCs, to be sustainable and stuff like that. I don't know how it is in your country, but in France, universities are very bad on the continuous education field. And so there are lots of companies with various experts who create continuous education, sell at very expensive prices sometimes, continuous curricula for companies, unemployed people and stuff like that. And universities are really not playing the game for many years. And what has been happening with the MOOC is that suddenly university has discovered that they can do great things and that those things can be sold and that they can be players in this huge market. Because we all know that continuous education is going to become more and more blendedly oriented, online oriented. I mean, companies don't want to put their best employees for a week going in the capital city, taking the plane, etc., etc. They'd rather prefer to have online training or to have blended training. They learn online for 3 days and then only 2 days for whatever needs to be done face-to-face. So we have had quite a few partnerships that have shown to the university that this is a way that can be useful for them to develop lifelong learning education, and behind that, to develop a business model for their MOOCs. I don't know what I'm going to tell you. Maybe I just stop on the last one. We have worked with very different sectors of activities, such as catering, insurance, food processing, etc. In those sectors, they are in charge of creating the training for the employees of the sectors. And in those sectors, which most of them are sectors where they have lots of jobs and lots of empty positions and lots of small companies, there is a very important topic about how digital transformation is going to impact those sectors, okay? The way Uber has disturbed taxi organization, the way as booking has disturbed hotel reservation. Okay, what about a small restaurant in Paris? If he wants to have more visibility, more client to be, what about the digital transformation for this place? What about the digital transformation of other fields? So we got a big project funded by the Ministry of Employment to create courses to help small enterprise in these different fields to understand what are the issues of digital transformation. So see, this is very interesting because the marketplace, which is fun, is a way to show what university can do best. They can do good courses, and they have good academic people. They have people who are experts. And in companies, this is something that is valuable. I must confess that I didn't know that. I didn't know that companies were interested with academic people to do lifelong learning education. But because there are so many companies that pops up every 2 days with one guy, two guys saying, I can train your employees. So where is the value refuge? The value refuge is in university with academic people, because we know that academic people, they are expert in their field, they can have a vision, they can synthesize, they can listen and produce things that would fit specific needs. And really what's really happening over the last 2 years is that because this marketplace is visible, we have been in between socio-economic sectors who want to create courses for specific needs in their sectors and say, why don't we do that with universities? They have proven that they can do a good job. And we know that we can work with them and they will give us more insights on different topics. And so we have been some sort of go-between place where we have helped those socio-economic sectors to meet universities to create courses that fit their needs. And on the way, they have the money to create the courses. And because those courses are courses dedicated to lifelong learning education, they have the money to pay for the training. Because lifelong learning education, at least in France, is a market where companies have to pay to train their employees. So this is something very interesting in terms of sustainability. That's it. Thank you.
So thank you so much. And do we maybe have questions before we take the break? Yes.
Well, MOOC is old idea, not from 2011. Started actually on Stanford 10 years ago from computer science department and construction department initiated by construction industry to make this company that never sleeps. Around the world, notes, and they never sleeps, and they had a goal to educate people around the world from one center, in this case from Stanford, and to change results of design so that they are triple quicker than competition. They are the company that never it started that, and actually it was one Professor Fruchter from Stanford that initiated on begin of 2000 on Stanford University. But now return to the question. The question now is who owns the course in the state? Who owns the university or person? Not to you, but in the state also. Tenure professors are not interested too much to make digitalize because they are tenure position. This adjunct position are interested, but they say they are exploited from university and they could be fired any moment, and then course stay to the university as a property of university. Because of that, they are switching to private companies and selling the course for, let's say, 50-50. It's normal rate now at the moment. So that they switch to private, and it is normal behavior. And here, when everybody is tenure, let's say, the problem is to create such amount of courses in short time, what industry demands. I'm coming from this, let's say, non-formal education, and we could create it and own them, but I don't know what is with state university, what are in favor in this country, and they have this goal to do very quick. And the question is the relation between state university and private sector, which is also interested to create courses and to educate in this formal, non-formal education, dual education, whatever we say. That's my comment and question.
To go back to your first point, MOOC is not the beginning of the story for sure. I mean, there have been online education, there have been e-learning education for many years. In France, we had education through radio, through TV. BBC had education through TV, and then we switched to learning environment. So, of course, the world of e-education hasn't started with MOOCs. That's absolutely true. But suddenly, MOOC became popular, and it helped move a little bit of lines, move a little bit of ideas in university. But I do agree with you. In many industrial fields, there had been online platform where you could be trained more in an individual basis to learn specific competencies that you needed for the company you worked for. So who owns the content? This is a very important question. In France, a teacher, a university teacher, owns the intellectual property of what he has created. No matter what, he owns it. Which means that when we go from open online course, free, to, let's say, a course for a company, a lifelong learning course, then the issue is, how do we share the revenue? As long as the course is open for free, or only a verified certificate cost, then the teacher will not own anything. But to create the course, he will have had help from his university. This online course that he has created last semester may replace a face-to-face course, for instance. Or he may be paid extra money to create this course because the university wants this guy or this girl to keep doing his teaching load on campus without any reduction because they can do it. Anyway, to create the course, each university has rules to recognize in the teaching load of the teacher what creating this course means. But when this course is sold for continuous education, then it brings money, and the money is shared between, first of all, a part of the money stays to us because we have cost to run the platform, of course, and then the rest of the money is shared between the university and the teacher. And each university decides of its own rule to pay back the teacher part of the money that has been created by the MOOC, the same way as you would get part of the money when you write a book, sell it, and you get that many euros, dollars, or whatever on each copy of the book that is sold. I believe that on some platforms, including some French platform, there is a strong will for the platform to own the course. And I believe this is a very strong position that teachers, professors do not agree willingly upon, of course.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
interesting
you.
presentation.